work together and utilizing energy to like move and bring clients in and all the things. So I am really excited to be here for this Q&A. We've got some good questions. I see one of the question answers here, so I want to make sure I prioritize that question. And then I'll go into two of the other questions and then bring some of you up for some hot seats so that you can ask your specific questions. So, how are you doing? How are you doing? How are you feeling? Like, what's coming up for you after this last 3 days, especially now that you can really see and know what the differences are between showing up in the anti archetype and then how you are when you show up in the fame archetype. So I want to hear in the comments like how you're feeling and if that is helping you become more aware of the decisions that you make, the choices that you make, and all of those things. So drop those in the comments. If you want to also drop in the comments like what your biggest aha moment has been over these last 3 days, please do. Because the more you acknowledge it, the more you celebrate it, the more you say, this is what happened. Oh my goodness. And start to own that, the more you'll start to see like things shift and change even faster. Okay. All right. So I'm so thirsty. I just got to the, oh, that's a little bump. Okay. Mm. All right. I want to, you guys, oh yes. And if you haven't been able to submit a question, and you're here live, just you'll be able to raise your hand. There'll be times for you to raise your hand and come up for some hot seat coaching. Okay. All right. All right. So I am first. We're going to go with Lauren's question first, which was a great question. And I'm so glad you asked. So, and Lauren, I want you to be able to unmute yourself too, if while I'm talking about it, because I have like one question too. All right, so Lauren says, my question is, I noticed that while observing the fame and anti-fame archetypes within myself, I became more aware that my partner seems to embody one of these specifically. My business archetype is different from the one that feels most dominant in my relationship. Can these archetypes also be applied to understanding the dynamics of relationships and friendships, or is it just a case of the archetypes overlapping? So I would love, Lauren, if you can unmute yourself and you can give an example of like how is he showing up and how you're showing up. Before you do, I want to say yes. The archetypes are really, it's how your dynamic of being seen, of being recognized, your dynamic of how authentically you are you being. And that applies to your business, it applies to relationships, it applies to how you show up in any place in your life. And so anytime you see yourself, like, let's say you're muting your voice, right? Let's say you are playing more of a puppet role instead of being the creative muse and really trusting your own voice. You're like leading in and diverting a lot of parts of you, hiding those parts of you. That would be you not fully owning your truth, your authenticity. And so the more you can lean into the archetype that where you are fully expressing yourself, the more you'll start to see that the relationship feels balanced, that you feel heard, he feels heard, that you both feel like super powerful people meeting each other versus any kind of saving or any kind of things that dynamics in the relationship that don't represent two equal people that actually love each other. And so in traditional, like if we think about traditional, an example of traditional male female type relationships, you can see that there's sometimes where the woman may be bold and lead herself boldly in business, but she might dim herself in relationships. And so, what she gets to do is to see how is she powerfully moving through her relationship? Is she authentically showing up? Is she showing up with an open heart without the guards? Is she trying to get attention? I have a lot of clients that maybe like trying to get attention. And so, in order to get attention, they're kind of being the spectacle in the relationship and in their own way of what that looks like. And so, when you understand that embodying these different archetypes in different areas of your life is definitely possible. You start to see like what areas am I hiding parts of me? And that's what the anti-fame archetypes show you, any place where you're hiding parts of yourself. And all I do is I put them in different names so that easily you can be like, oh my goodness, I am being the puppet right now, or I am being a persona because I'm doing what I think is more relatable or where he'll hear me more. And then you'll say, okay, what do I really want to see in this moment? What is my heart and my soul asking for me to share in this moment? And you can start to come back to your true authenticity, because remember, we said the truth is the highest frequency, your authenticity is the highest frequency. And the more you're representing that, the more you will experience people receiving the full you. So, so Lauren, what happened, or what did you observe in the relationship?
Um, okay, so first of all, thank you for answering the question. That's been really helpful. Um, and the biggest thing is that as soon as you mentioned about the icon, I was like, oh, that's him, because he's like unapologetic. He's just like, hey, I'm here, this is me. And I was like, okay, so maybe that's why we connected, because in reality, like how we met, it wouldn't have happened in any other situation. So I was like, okay, he must be the icon because I wouldn't have found him any other way. So I was like, okay, fine. And then I realized that sometimes I'm the spectacle. Like if I'm like really excited about something in business, I'm like, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at me, maybe. And he's like, okay, um, in a minute. And it does come around to that, but it's just like me being like really excited about something and being like, hey, let me show you this thing right now. And I was like, oh, okay, that feels a bit uncomfortable realizing that. But again, it was like, oh, it does kind of work. And I was like, wait, because this is more business focused, am I overthinking this? And then I was like, no, but I'm gonna ask the
No,
question anyway. So yeah.
I love that question. Well, what I also see, you remember how I said it, a lot of women want attention, right? And so if you want attention in the relationship, you're probably leaning towards the spectacle because you're like, talk to me now, see me now. What you get to do when you see those moments of you, like, I need him to look at this now. And he's like, okay, in a minute, how can you come back to your thing and not need the validation? Because when you don't need his validation, he will be showering it on you. Because when you don't need something, right, it doesn't feel like she's clingy, right? And so if you go to him and you're like, look at this, I'm so excited, this is what's happening in my business, and he's like, okay, I'll look when I have a chance, you get to say okay, and you walk away, and you continue to celebrate, you continue to be like yes, because as a siren, you're not running behind anybody, right? You say, okay, whenever whenever you're available, and then you go and you be the person who is so like attractive and not chasing behind his validation. And when you don't need it, you get it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
look at yourself like when he is being the icon, are there like what does it generate in your body? Like what do you feel? Do you feel proud and you're like, oh, I'm married to an icon, he's so amazing? Or are you like, why is he so, like what do you get? How do you respond, and your identity? How do you respond when he's being in his full icon self?
I mm, sometimes I'm like the machine a little bit, and I just kind of like go on autopilot with things and being like, oh, it doesn't bother me. But again, and then I then kind of like tap into the icon a bit, and I'm just like, oh yay, look at him. And then I'm just like, oh, now I want to tell everybody about like what he's doing. And then I kind of relax and chill out, and I feel like that's where I may like tap into the siren a bit, or the muse a little bit and
Mm.
then just leave it.
Yes. What it feels like, okay, so when he's in his icon self, it makes you want to tell the entire world about everything he's doing, right? Because you're so proud of him, you love him, and he's so confident in what he's doing. When you are in your full authenticity, what of those identities feel so like you're like, yes, this feels good for me right now? Is it the muse?
I would say sort of like 50-50 at the moment, like Siren Muse. And it's sort
Sorry.
of like if I if I'm able to like tap into one of them, the other one kind of balances it out without going into the anti-fame archetype. So
No, I love it. Okay. So what you get to do is when he's in his icon, let that be a reminder of you to come back fully into the muse and the siren, to fully say, okay, where am I? Like, am I championing my own creativity? Am I being bold and but grounded in a way about my, things that I have going on? Am I like being loud, right? But in a grounded way about what I do? And because you can allow him and his grounded ability to be proud of his work and what he does, be an inspiration for you to come back to your full truth and come back to being loud about it.
I can definitely do that.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so keep observing because you'll see a lot of times when someone's in their, their power and they're in their fame archetype and they're like taking up space. If you ever feel triggered or you feel like, like, why are they blah, blah, blah? It's usually because you're not being in yours, or it's usually because they're allowing themselves to do something, say something, be something more than you are allowing yourself to be. And so you could always come back to what about him, what he's doing right now, am I not? And it could be as simple as being fully in your truth, being fully authentic to who you are.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
I love that. You're welcome. And I'll see you in Signal. Would you like to tell everyone why you joined Signal and why it felt so like resonant for you?
Okay. Yes. So I decided to join Signal because, well, first of all, it wasn't like a mind yes, it was a full body yes. And I was like, hang on, I haven't heard all of the details. And then my mind was like, you don't need to. Just like this was almost like a bit of a test and a challenge to like trust my body and my intuitive voice. And I was like, okay, right, we're gonna go in. And as soon as I made the payment, I was like, okay, yeah, this still feels good. And lots of energy has been flowing around me since, and it's not been like a no at all, which which is why I'm glad that I trusted my body with this.
I love that. One, you trusted your body, but two, how the energy is still, like really amplifying. What is going to really help you in Signal is one of the biggest things we talked about is identity, right? Identity and frequency together. We're going to bring those two together. And then every day you get to come out and be that biggest version of you and share the work that you have. And I know just having, like, I don't want to say accountability, but having ideas on how to use magic and how to use your frequency, how to use the quantum to amplify your visibility is great, but also holding, anchoring in your body the identity and being that person throughout the day and being accountable for showing up as that person throughout your day is going to be a big thing. And so I really do. I'm excited to see where you're going to be when we start and then when we end. So just continue to look in your messages. We'll bring like you have some dates for when we're going to start and all the things. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I love it. Okay, we have one more, well, we have a couple more questions, but one that I really want to answer. This question is from Charlotte. Charlotte says, I'm struggling with creating a new awareness on DEI. She says it's a tough area to sell strategies and knowledge to big companies these days, both in my country and worldwide. She said, where do you see new level or next levels of brand? And to sell this knowledge, where do you see the changes happening? Every awareness is welcome. And so, one, I love to like dip into these type of conversations, especially after what's happened over the last 9 months, right? And so, if we look at the real numbers, right, when it comes to DEI, um, when we look at when it was instituted for a lot of companies and who benefited from it the most, and I think understanding these numbers are going to help. For example, melanated women, they were like 6.5% of like senior level positions. And after DI, it was 6.6. So they got a 0.1% jump. So there wasn't a huge benefit for melanated community. However, the people that really benefited from it were white women and veterans, right? White male veterans benefited a ton from this experience of, this diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is interesting. And so when you say, oh, and then, right, in order to shift it, right, the main reason for getting rid of it had a lot to do with, of course, you know, degenerating the name, making people feel diversity was negative against certain groups, all of those things, making it sound bad the same way they did with woke, like all those things. But it also had to do with trying to create a situation where eventually they'll be able to control the hiring force for white women. So they will only have to work at home, like won't have any other options. They'll just be homemakers. And so if you think, like, do the connections, right? The pattern recognition that we all have. It's like, I see really why they're doing this. Of course, it's going to be to attack and denigrate and dehumanize the, oppressed community or um, the melanated communities and the Black and Brown communities. Of course, that is a plus for them. But there's also a focus and a reason why they're doing it for the long run. So what you get to do, because it became a dirty word, I want to ask you to stop selling DEI, and start talking about it in a new way. People love newness and they love a new way of talking about things. So instead of using those words, I want you to start talking about cultural innovation. I want you to start talking about how, when you have like a voice and everybody sounds the same, I want you to talk about how their sales decline and how their business doesn't expand because they're not getting diverse ideas. I want you to start talking about like innovations and things that are built um, because of diverse decisions in the business, because of cultural inclusion, because of um, workforce expansion, like those kind of things. So you get to look at and say, what are my words within my country that would really hit home? Because when you start talking about the bottom line, you start talking about the effects on the bottom line, you start to talk about how when businesses start to just sound the same, look the same, they start teaching the same things or selling the same things, there's no diversity and there's no increase in sales. And so I feel like there's a way for you to start talking about this in a way that people are going to be like, oh, that's a new way. Oh, and it's the exact same thing, right? So you get to talk about the decision making power. You get to talk about the frequency shift in the organization. You get to talk about legacy. Um, what are some other things, you guys? If you have any, I want you in the comments too, if you have any ideas about this. But you can talk about not just bringing people together, but you can also talk about how, like, give examples of what it looks like to move around and how, if you want to move the world, like, talk about percentages. I did a percentage thing. I said the global population, we're a global society. You could say only, right now your boardroom looks like 7% of the global population. And because it looks like 7% of the global population, the ideas that you're having for products, the ideas that you're having for different things that you can do are not connecting to 93% of the world. Those type of things, you might go, oh, because then you say the more you can create something that is going to connect with the majority, the global majority, the more you, but you're not going to be able to do that without people from the global majority being a part of your boardrooms, being part of your organization. So it's going to be just a different way of talking about it, so that you can like no longer center the acronym that has now become a dirty word, which is ridiculous. You can really talk about what happens when they do allow new ideas and do foster um, foster differences. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Let's see. I just landed in the room and I love how encouraged it is, encouraging the shift in perspective, right? And so just what I want you to do, Charlotte, is I want you to say, okay, if I was never able to use those three letters again, but we know what it means: diversity, equity, inclusion. It means cultural inclusion. It means speaking to the global majority. It means, um, you know, workplace innovation. It means increased expansion in the workforce. It means increased sales. You could also, talk about like what happens when, organizations start to close their boardrooms, start to close their companies. They lose $12.4 billion like Target, right? Things like that, right? And so when you start talking about their bottom line, you start talking about the innovation, you start talking about them leading their organization, you start talking about the differences of what happened between Costco and Target and those things, and how Costco can barely like keep the stuff on the shelves now. When you start talking about that, it's going to get to the thing that matters most to them, which is the bottom line. But it's also going to have, like, you can talk about it in a different, more expanded way that will make it feel new again. And that's what's super important, making it feel new again to them. Um, because certain people have made it sound like it's a dirty thing. And we all know when you look at it and it's like, well, what's bad about diversity, equity, and inclusion? Nothing, because meritocracy has gotten us where we are in 9 months. Yeah. So, all right. So that's the second question. There's three, I think, other questions which I can go to, but I want to ask if anyone live has any questions. They would like a hot seat and some coaching. If you do, you can raise your hand. The way you raise your hand is go to the react button. And yes, if you click react, then you'll be able to say raise hand. So if you have any questions, um, definitely raise your hand. I will go to the next question and then I will look for anyone who's raising their hand. Okay. The next question, this is a really good one too. This is from Sam. She says, in my world, people already know who I am. They know I'm the one to trust. I have receipts. And she's like, I know that I've been building my visibility from part of me. Let's see, but I know I've been building visibility from a part of me that's learned how to be visible, not the version of me that's embodied visibility. That's a good point. Um, there's something that I'm more performing. I want to ask, how do you fully switch from being respected for your work to being felt without having to constantly explain or translate? Oh, that's a great question. How many of you have felt that? Put it in the comments if you felt that, and like drop some questions. And also your version of answering that question, please put in the comments. I love to hear like other ways that you guys would respond, or if you're, tagging it. Okay. So, Sam, what I want to say to you is, first of all, just even being respected for your work is amazing, because people, they respect your work because they felt it. And so I think you're in your head right now about what the difference between being respected and felt. They go together. People will not respect your work if they haven't felt your work and felt you and felt your words and felt your business. And so what I want to do is take you out of your head and let's get into our what I want to bring you back to, because that's not the question. The question here is, you were like, I've learned like how to be visible, but I haven't embodied visibility. The way you're going to embody visibility is by really embodying the identity of who you truly are and the identity of the person who already has the things that you believe you desire. So let's say right now, you said you're respected, you've got people in your program. So let's say you're averaging like, 20 to 30 people in your experiences. But in your mind, in your heart, you desire to reach 1,000 people. Like you want to have an experience that has 1,000 people in it. So who is the version of you that has 1,000 people in their experience? How does that version of you show up? How is that version of you speaking about her work? How is that version of you talking to their partner, their friends at brunch? Like, how is that person of you showing up in every part of your life? Because your thoughts, your beliefs, the somatic feelings, the emotions, your intentions, your decisions, and your actions are what really determine if you're going to anchor in the identity of the woman who has 1,000 people in her experiences. And so when you start to value, first of all, 20, right? The 10, the 20, the people who are already there, treat them like they are world changers, world leaders, treat them like they are gold, and because they are, treat them like the souls that they are, and also show up in a way that is befitting of someone who has 1,000 people who said yes to their experience. What would that feel like? What would that look like? How does that feel? That's what we're going to go through in Signal. We're going to have you really say, okay, who is my version of fame? Like, what is my celebrity, spiritual celebrity archetype? What is that version of me, that identity of me? And then every single day throughout your day, without stopping, you are going to embody, be in an embodied immersion. And you are going to be that frequency every single day throughout your day and allow it to become natural and normal for you. Okay. And so that is what's needed for you to feel fully embodied in that visibility, fully embodied in the fame. You've got to decide, I am famous regardless of if one person comes to the call, if no one comes to the call, I am famous. For example, when I think about Taylor Swift when she first started, she was like playing these like juke joints and like these small little places. And she'd go with her own songs and she'd play the guitar on the stage. She was still Taylor Swift then, just like she is the same Taylor Swift on, a mega $100,000 stadium, 100,000 people stadiums. Okay. She decided that she had something to say. She had music that she wanted to share. She wanted everybody to feel it. And she was imagining herself while she's singing to three people who were ignoring her. She was imagining herself singing to 100,000 people, screaming her name. So if you're going into your things and you're like, oh, there's only one or two people there, then you're not being the person who is teaching to 1,000 people. You're being the person who is feeling like sitting in the gap. And what we get to do is remove that gap and start to like make this you, like make it um, I'm the person that teaches to 1,000 people. I'm going to show up like that. I'm going to say what's on my mind. I'm going to say what I have to say. I'm going to be honest and truthful for who I am. Now, am I saying that you need to be embarrassed about where you are? No, because when you accept where you are, when you love where you are, when you're so excited with where you are and so excited about what gets to unfold, there's no difference. But how can you show up like the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 in a room woman with the 10 people and feel so appreciative of that? What would that look like? Okay, so definitely jump into Signal. I think I see a hand raised. I am going to call up Tasha.
Hi.
Tasha, come. Yes, let's talk. What's going on?
Um, well, I just had a question about because it's like this is all about visibility and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and I feel like, I mean, yeah, I could get some more visibility. Like I would like
100%.
more people. Yeah. But I'm also like, you know, like I get a lot of engagement. I get a lot of referrals. I get all those things, but it's like it's not really translating into sales right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like
because you're not
to.
in your fame archetype.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Keep, well, tell me what your question was, and then I'll answer.
Well, that was the question. Like, I mean, visibility is nice, but I mean, it's not, to me, it's like I don't care if it's not making me money, like honestly.
So I get that. And here's the thing. You are getting visibility on certain things. Most of the
Yeah.
things, a lot of it doesn't have to do with your work. Sometimes it's a lot about your opinions and all those things. We need to, you are born in the spectacle archetype. And people buy, like, I'm not just talking about empty visibility. When I'm talking about, and you'll see what we've been talking about is bringing people into your world who want to buy from you. And so, with what's happening with you, you get, recommendations, right? People are recommending you, but a lot of people aren't saying
Hmm.
yes right now, right? They're not buying from you. Why? And
Yeah,
it's
and a lot of
because
people are booking calls too, and then like like they love what I say on the calls and stuff, but then they don't seem ready to invest. So I am tweaking my messaging around the calls to like attract people who are more ready.
what do
Um,
you mean when you say they don't seem ready to invest? Do they
like
say,
they're not.
no, I can't afford it? Or what are
Some
they
of
saying?
them, yeah, like they say no, I can't afford it, or they're like, oh well, I'm not ready right now. Like come back to me in a few weeks, kind of thing.
For you, I feel like one piece of it, you got to tie in, you got to make what you have created not a nice to have, a must have. So if people feel like this is great, thank you for this information, but they feel like something's more pressing or more important, or it's not going to change life for them immediately, or they don't feel the pain of not saying yes. And I don't mean like pain point marketing, but I just mean maybe like, oh my God, I must do this. That could be the thing that's going to switch people to start saying yes immediately on the phone. One thing about you, and you guys know we don't use this word in Aligned Soul, but you're very humble. When you don't say, I'm the best at this, this is what we're going to do. If you don't do this, you're not going to see, it's like you're going to see sales reduce. Like, I need you to be more um like about why it is important for them to be in what they're doing, right? So tell me what's like, give me an example of somebody who was on the call.
Um, like the other day, I had a few people. I had like 5 or 6 people, and it was one lady. She's made like 15 to 20,000 a month, but now she's kind of making less than that. Like she said,
Mhm.
like less than 5,000. And I looked at her messaging, and it was, I mean, I could see why she wasn't making as much money because it just wasn't. It was like blah. I was like, I told her, if I didn't know you personally, I would not. There would have been no reason to really stop and watch what you were saying. Um,
What does
and
she do? What
so
kind of work? You don't have to give too many details, but
she's kind of like like empowerment, like helping entrepreneurs to really ground in their mission and their purpose, and so they can make, I guess, more money doing what they
okay.
do.
Okay. Okay. And her main source of income, like she has masterminds or programs or
Well, she does masterminds, like one-on-one stuff like that. But like recently, she just created a new program where she's going to be taking them through. It's like a year-long thing that she created, and she kind of another thing I discovered with her and talking to her was that she's talking to the wrong clients. Like she's talking to
okay.
clients who really technically are not at the level they need to be to need to invest in her program. And she was like, I have people, this one audience that I know, that I've been talking to, and I know they're kind of not ready. And then I have this other audience that I know is ready, and I find myself spending more time talking to the people, hoping, I guess, that that's gonna make them ready to join
Okay.
the
So she's talking
program.
to the not ready person. Okay.
Right.
So you hear like there's distinct things. She's not, it's blah marketing. She's not talking to the right people. And so what was your suggestion to that her?
Well,
Like, how
for
did you
the
sell her on it? Because I feel like this is where,
well, first of all, I pointed out an angle that she could use to make her content and her marketing stand
disruptive.
out and yeah, disruptive. And then I told her, as far as marketing to her audience, that you always market to the highest level of your
Mhm.
market. And then the rest of the people will rise to the occasion. But you don't market to the people that are at the bottom because she said, I feel bad because I don't want to leave people behind, kind of thing. And I was like,
These are all
people will
things you can
catch up.
use in your marketing, by the way. All the
Uh,
things about these calls, I want you to take their specific words, even if you have to write it out, quote. Like, I want you to, you think the reason why you're not blah, blah, blah is because you think you're going to leave people behind by marketing to da, da, da. You know what I mean? I just want to bring that up because these are big things.
yeah.
Okay. So how did you sell it? That's what I want. Because I feel like for you, it's going to be more, you say, look, I have your disruptive angle. We know you're going to have to, making up whatever. You need to speak like this, talk to this person. And what is missing in your marketing is like, did you go like, this is missing from your marketing? This is missing from your marketing. This is missing from your marketing. And I
No, I
can
didn't say
show
that.
you how to, you gotta like, because if you just give it, so you're soft when you do these calls and you're really good, but you're not like laser focused. People who want to invest, they want to know where they're like not missing out or where they're going wrong, but everybody listen to this, but they want you to be so specific. You should say this. I'm looking, okay, I'm going to pull up your thing and they're going to, say, this is where you're missing it. In this piece, you could have been a lot more disruptive. This sounds like everyone else. You should say, there are things that I teach with my disruptive messaging. Did you mention your my disruptive messaging framework is going to help you go from this type of marketing to closing like 10 out of 10 times? Did you say things like that?
No, I did say that.
You had no.
I didn't
What
say
did you
that,
say? Tell me what
but
you
I did
said.
say that I could help her. You
No, but
know,
that's boo, boo, boo. Everybody's saying that. What did you
no,
say? No, I mean for real, because this way we can know why
I don't
people.
remember exactly what I said, but I didn't say that. I
Okay,
did
you said I
say
can
that
help you do whatever. And
I
what
had,
did you tell her it was going to result in?
I told her that I'd be able to help her book out her program because I've done it before.
Yeah, but that doesn't sound like something for her. I can help you book out your program. No, you see how like it's more about
Well,
you,
that's
less
what she
about her.
wanted, though. She said that she wanted
No, no, no. But I'm
to
saying
book
the way
out
you
her
say,
offers, though.
no, totally get that. But the way you're saying it is like, I can help you book out your program. What I said is you're going to go, this is why you're not booking out your program. This is the angle that you need to use. This is what's missing in your writing. I see where you're falling, short. My disruptive or the disrupt, you don't even have to say if that's a mine. The disruptive messaging method will show you exactly how to X, Y, and Z when you use the disruptive messaging method. And this is what I talk about in Wealth, Woke, and Wealthy. You become literally woke and wealthy, and you're able to use your blah, blah, blah. Did you do that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So
I
this,
kind of just mentioned them at the end, like,
you need to do it throughout. Okay. So that's why you're not selling because you're not, I mean, you're not making sales because you're not selling and you're not even threading it in. So when you get to, okay, so the next call, this is going to be fun. For your next call, I want you to have like their marketing up, right? And like, because you know who it's
hmm
going to be. When you get on the call, talk to them, have them talk about their challenges, write specifically their words. You heard me? Write
Okay.
specifically what they say. So, like, for example, I'm going to do it to you. You're already in, so Tasha, you are most recommended person. You're doing really well because you want to talk her up, right? So you're doing really well, Tasha. Like you're the most recommended person when it comes to copywriting. And I know now you've shifted to become disruptive messaging and you really want to make a name for yourself. You've got all the people that are coming in your DMs and doing the calls, but you're not making any sales. The reason you're not making any sales is because you haven't fully anchored in the identity of the woman who makes sales every time, who has her real fame archetype. When we go through the Voodoo piece, you are going to see exactly what you need to do in order to anchor in the identity of the woman who makes sales every single time she has a call. Right now, that's not happening. You see how, like, and it's exactly your words, it's exactly the situation, it's exactly what's happening. And so I want you guys to listen to this because you want to speak their language back to her. So for her, you would have said, look, you're good at what you do, and you know that. However, you've made $20,000 months, you made $15,000 months. It's going to be so easy for you to go back there and more when you have now the disruptive messaging angle. You could leave right now and go try it. You could. But but you don't have the disruptive messaging um, framework. The disruptive messaging framework is going to teach you how to take this angle that we've talked about together and take this content that isn't working. Let me show you. This one isn't working. This one isn't working. I can immediately tell in 2.2 seconds why your content has not done well. It's because people aren't buying like they did. And my disruptive messaging method will take you through how to shift that so that you stand out, so that you become the person that everybody's looking at, so that you become the person everybody's talking about. And you say, and we're not going to just talk about messaging. We're not going to just tell you how to write copy. We what
Mm.
we're going to do in Woke and Wealthy, I am going to teach you energetically how to align with that because you can change and be disruptive, but if it's not clicking and it's not a part of who you are, it's going to sound like you're playing. And I'm going to show you how to now embody this new message and it becomes the thing that everybody's looking for.
Okay. That
You see
makes.
what I mean? Like really
Mhm.
take her in. Use those person, like write down their language, write down the words that they're saying. Have them really talk about, well, I'm challenged here and I'm not making as much sales here. And this is what used to work and this is what's not working. And you want to have insights to be like, yeah, you're right. This used to work. This type of messaging used to be good, it used to be huge. But let me tell you why it's not working. You see, like you need to bring those unique insights so they're not like, oh, she's just like everyone else. You need to be disruptive in these conversations. You feel me?
Okay.
So visibility isn't just about being seen, it's about embodying the ability to not only be seen, but also be received, right? And to be sought after. So not just visible, but sought after. People don't seek people that they're not investing in. You know what I mean? And so you want to become visible and sought after. You want to become visible and the one everybody's like, you need to go pay for her. You need to go buy her things. You need to go work with her, but in a real way. Like not just, oh, I see everybody else is saying Tasha's name. Let me say it too. It's going to be more like, I work with her. You need to work with her. She made me X amount more money. Or my content took off and everybody loves my content now. So you see, so let's see, embodying the ability to be received and sought after. That's how I chose to do the signal. I can't wait. I'm going to bring you up, Lisa, so you can tell it right. So you see, so that's what's important. Received and sought after is what I want you to think of. So don't think I'm already visible. The visibility I'm talking about is not just likes or engagement. It's you being the sought after, well known name in your industry for messaging and copywriting together because they to me they go together, but also being the leader that people recommend and you having so many people come into your world over and over and over again.
Okay.
Now tell me how that feels in your body because I know there it felt a little incongruent, right? Because you were like, I don't need that, but how does it feel now?
I mean, it feels okay. I'll
Mhm.
try it on the next call. But I had
Are you
been telling
sure?
myself that I really wasn't trying to focus on that because if I do, I will stop doing the calls. If they don't produce sales and that's the reason why I'm doing them, I will stop doing them
But
because
it's not just about sales. I want you to think these calls are also customer marketing. And so if you have the video recordings for these calls, I think,
yeah, I record them.
watch every single one and take literal notes about what they're saying they're challenged with. It is market research. Yes. Companies pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get this much market research. And so it's
Mm,
not just about making sales. But what you do need to do is you do need to sell because you're not giving them an opportunity to expand. You're not giving them an opportunity to go further. That's another reason why they're not buying. So if you say, I don't care if they buy, I don't want them to buy, or it's not a big deal, then that's okay. But what I want you to do is, it, so it's clearly making you uncomfortable. So what's uncomfortable about it?
I don't know. Because then it'll feel like a sales call. And I hate
No, it
sales
won't.
calls.
No, every call you do is a sales call. You're a business.
I
Why wouldn't you be
know, but
selling?
I know that. But I mean, like,
I mean, what? This is important. This is important for you to you feel because the reason why they're not buying is because you're not talking about your thing. So tell me why. Why does it feel like let me give you an example. When I go to somebody, I want them to tell me what they got. I want to know what they're doing that's going to help me, like what they know is going to change, like how I can go deeper or how I can expand. And if I go on a call and they're just giving me, here's your archetype and here's the thing. And if you want to do it, you can come into woke and wealthy. I'm not getting into woke and wealthy. I'm just not because I'm like, oh, thank you for the information. I didn't learn anything new, but thank you. Or what is the next step? While you're talking, you should always thread in your offers. You should always thread in your like, even if you don't sell, did you mention your framework at all
yeah.
on a call? Okay.
Mm,
And did you say that this is what we're gonna do in Working Wealthy
yeah, that's I said.
before the end of the call?
Uh, I don't know if I said it before the end.
So that means you only said it once because it's at the end of the call. So you didn't really say it. You're not threading the reason why people need to join. And I'm giving you like, what about sales calls do you hate? Like, what do you hate about somebody? And this isn't a sale, like, I hate the name even sales calls because every call is a sales call. But what do you hate about somebody sharing an opportunity with you?
I don't hate that part of it. I don't hate receiving on the receiving end of it. I just because I won't get on the
Okay.
call. Like, I mean, obviously, the person is gonna sell. Like, I expect that at this point. So
So
it's
why
not
don't you
that.
expect it from you? So what's the problem? You don't expect it from you. And that's why you're not making any money. So what
Well,
is the
because I
why?
just remember a time that I did a lot of sales calls and it just never produced anything.
Because you weren't selling.
Yeah, I was. Well, I probably wasn't. This
Mhm.
was years ago, though. Like it was
So
10
why were
years
you
ago.
so you're creating the same result over and over again based on the past of who you're not. But
Because
you
I
just
wrote
clearly said,
a
I
really good
hate when
post.
people sell.
I don't hate when people sell. I just don't like the idea of like, because I wrote this post in a group. This is back in the day when you could actually write posts in groups, and I offered a free call, and like 70 people booked the call. And I just I did all the calls and didn't make any sales. And ever since then, I don't like sales calls.
But it has nothing to do with they didn't buy not because it was a sales call. They didn't buy because you probably didn't sell. You probably did what you just did in the last two calls. You didn't sell. You didn't show them why this was the thing that they were doing wrong. You didn't really show them where the pain was. If they don't fix this and they don't get into your framework, and if they don't say yes to this, then this is going to continue. You see what I mean? And so
Yeah.
you've had, and also you're giving an example of sales calls that you had way back when. Recently, you've had, I mean, like in the last year or two, you've done sales calls and had many sales.
Yeah.
So why are we worried about
But they
something
were
that
mainly
happened
from
when you
people
first
coming to
started?
me and asking me, and like they knew they wanted to buy already.
No,
Mm.
2 years ago, you remember it was maybe 3 years ago. This was so long ago. You remember you had that, I forget what the name of the call was, but you had that call and it was a specific name and you were making your sales on those calls. So I'm saying like you always are going to the negative experience that you had that has nothing to do with what you've experienced even within the last year. Why can't you assume everybody that gets on the phone with you wants to buy from you? That needs to be your assumption. Everybody that gets on the phone with me wants to buy from me. Everybody wants to buy, everybody wants to buy, everybody wants to buy. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that. Yeah.
In the notes, do y'all believe her? Lauren, yeah, I
Man,
don't, I don't believe you one bit.
you don't believe me?
Mm-mm. Kitty says, thank you so much for this conversation. It's very, truly valuable for me. Lisa says, no, no, I don't believe you either. And I love you. I love you so much. I love all of you so much. I don't believe you, Tasha. You're like, you, there is something like I want you to close your eyes. Where do you, there's a pain included. There's a rejection, I believe. There's a fear of rejection. Ooh, that hit hard. That's what I'm feeling right now. Is that it? Is that it? Is that what's coming up, Tasha?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling the fear of rejection. Hold on. I'm feeling so much pressure. Can we? Oh, okay. What I want to do, this is going to sound really weird. What I want you to do is I want you to feel all the rejection that you've ever felt in your life right now. Because I'm about to cry. I want everybody to do this. Everybody, feel all the rejection you've ever felt. It doesn't matter if it's in business, but feel all the business rejection. But I definitely want relationship rejection. I've been rejected so many times. I do
So
want
many times.
right. So I want you to feel that. I want you to feel that. I want you to feel it. And I want you to not to fight against it, like not try to end it.
I did not
If you
want to
need to
cry today.
cry, no cry. Let it cry. Please let it come out. Feel the rejection, feel the pain. And everybody, if you're feeling this, I want you to feel it because I just want you to feel it. And I want you to feel how you are here. You are still here. It did not kill you. It did not hurt you. It just gave you more information for what you get to do next time. Your rejections are your lifesavers. Your rejections are not because you aren't good enough. It's actually because they weren't the right people for you. They weren't the right people for you. And so every time somebody says no, I want you to celebrate because they're not the ones. They're not meant to be in your life. They're not meant to be in your world. I want you to lean into rejection because when with every no, there are 10 yeses right behind it. Can you shift the story? Oh, I'm getting so much pain in my head. There's so like, don't fight the cry, let the cry out. Every rejection, there's 10 yeses behind it. It's okay to be rejected. I want like there should be a rejection challenge, a no question. Like get as many no's as you can because it's just you're gonna learn every call. It was so much marketing research, so much good information, so much good for your marketing. You're going to be able to use their exact words. You can even drop it in the chat, like we can, figure out their exact words and be like, oh, let's pull this out. Let's make this a post. Let me make this a post. I just, from what you just shared, I got like 4 posts from that in my head from what you shared. Like, so the calls are always going to be a positive because it's my free marketing research. But number two, every no, there's 10 yeses behind it. And so, oh, I want you to still continue to remember that every rejection was for you, not them. It was positive for you, not them. Can you feel the truth in that?
Yeah.
And so, sharing your also, there's one more other thing I want to say. Our businesses aren't personal. I know they feel personal, especially because they're personal brands and they're things we've created. We kind of feel like they're our babies, but they're not. If we can just be neutral about it, yes today, no tomorrow, right? Every person that says, I love this, but I'm not joining this, I'm not mad. I'm like, they'll join the next one. You know what I mean? And I know it can be hard when you're in the need and in the state where you're like, I need this money though, right? You're like, I need this money, right? If you're in a state where you're like hurting for money and all of those things, what we got it. But the only reason why you're feeling that is because you're letting money be your boss, letting money be the master instead of the support. You know what I mean? So what you get to do is you get to start to say, well, she said no, but there's 10 people that are going to say yes. And so with every no on those calls, how many calls have you done so far?
At this point, probably about 10 of them, 9, 10.
Ooh, there's 90 to 100 yeses behind that. Like, feel that. Be like, oh, that no, that means there's 10 yeses. Oh, that no, that means there's 10 more yeses. So you've done 9 to 10 calls. There's 100 people that are ready to say yes. If you could shift the story that the no just means that you're getting closer to people, like so many yeses, then you just like, oh, okay. And you take all of the positives that you got from that conversation and you move forward, you know? And then also when they say that they're not ready, you could say, oh, tell me, um, you know, what about it didn't make it a hell yes right now? Receive the feedback because they might say, well, it doesn't feel urgent for me, or they might say, I don't understand how it's going to help me. Ask them if they have any questions. Is there anything else you would like to know? Like, really make it a conversation with somebody because I already told you how to thread your offer and your framework and everything throughout the call. Then really talk to them about how, what they're missing. Like, before you go into selling, you want to say, okay, so on this call, let me recap what we talked about. This is what's happening in your life because you gave them a win. And so you want to bring them back to remember what was the sticky parts, right? So you want to say, this is what's happening. Now we have in 20 minutes found what your angle is. You can go and take this away and go use that angle and try it. But looking at your messaging, I love you to death, girl, but let me show you some of the things that you're doing in this messaging that no one understands what this means. That your clients or who you're still talking to the wrong client. Da, 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 right? You bring it down. You bring it down to be like, this is what you're doing. And in my program, this is the solution. You see what I'm saying? You're saying this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And in my experience, this is what we're going to do. Now, you could join Working Wealthy Mastermind. We're going to have a good time. I'm making this up, 6 months, 3 months. It's for 3 months or it's for 2 months.
It's 8 weeks.
Oh, 8 weeks. We're going to totally like blah, 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 right? You give her the details, tell her who she's going to be, how she's going to feel, all the pieces that are. Or you can work privately with me and I'll throw in Working Wealthy Mastermind for you. You'll get to have that included if we work privately for the next 8 weeks, which is blah, blah, blah. Because with me and you together, because you already know how to make money, but you just don't know what to say now in this day and age and what's happening in the world. Even bring in what's happening now in the world. People are buying differently. There's so much, concern and fear and how to invest. And people want to make sure they're investing in something that's going to really make a difference in their life. And so empowerment, I can show you how to make empowerment a now buy. Is that what you want? Like, you see what I mean?
Hmm.
And you can re-listen to this after this when I get you guys the replay. But let's see. Lauren says this is such a powerful call. Yay. So do you feel like we've got to lean into rejection and every call you get to be okay if they say yes or no?
Hmm.
So tell me, we're gonna go for a little bit longer. I'll be if somebody else has a question. Lisa, I want to bring you up to see why you said yes to the signal because I want to hear. But Tasha, I want you because I still feel some energy that gets to be moved. What's happening? I still feel some energy that needs to be moved. Guys, look, I'm all red here. You see it? It's like I still feel some energy that needs to be moved, and I'm really like, what is the benefit of holding on to the identity of being the person that gets rejected? What is the benefit that you're getting from this?
Um, I guess, I mean, because then I don't have to try too hard. Like
Mm, okay. What about also like the ability to make the other person wrong?
that too, yeah.
Okay. So, what if all right, so you don't have to try too hard, and then the ability to make the other person wrong. How is that a benefit for you? And where can you give yourself? What are you getting from that? And how can we give that to you in a different way?
Well, because the other person is wrong, then it's not
What do
my
you
fault.
feel? Okay, not your fault. So, what do you feel? What do you feel? Because there's a way that we can give you that same feeling without needing to make someone else wrong.
Mm.
What if it's no one's fault? What if nothing is, what if there's no fault ever? Like fault doesn't exist.
Like, then I'm not wrong, you know?
Okay. So what if you aren't wrong? Like you aren't wrong. There's no wrong. What if you could embody the idea that there is no wrong and no right? It's just this is the good time and this is a not good time. This is the timeline where they say yes. This is the timeline where they say no. I'm on the one that they said no. It's okay. Like what if you took like there's a lot of blame in there. There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of I don't want to be the one that's wrong. What if you could like realize that there is a no right or wrong in this situation? Can you feel that the truth in that at all?
Yeah, I can. I can feel that. Like, I can
Okay.
feel that it's not a right or wrong, that it just is.
So what I want, yes, it just is. It's and there's going to be two things that we're going to do. You're in signal, so yay. I want you to start to see um where you're trying to avoid blame or trying to avoid shame or trying to avoid guilt and just lean into it and be like, there's no blame, no shame, no guilt. They said no because it wasn't their time, but I got a whole bunch of information and I can create a ton of content from this.
Okay.
You've got all of those calls, your homework. I want you to watch all of those calls. And instead of looking at them for like, oh, they said no or whatever, I want you to start creating content because guess who's going to be looking at the content? They're going to see that. And for the woman who, for example, is what was she doing? You said she was boring. Her content was boring. You don't want to say it like that in your room, but you know what I mean. Her
No.
content was
Yeah.
boring, and she wasn't speaking to the right people, and she was afraid to leave people behind. That's a whole post, right? The reason your fear of leaving people behind is the reason why your content isn't hitting because there are people that are in your world, and you're speaking to the people who aren't going to buy instead of the people who will. And the reason
Yep.
why they can't hear you is also because your content is boring, right? Your content is basic. Your content sounds just like this guru and that guru and that guru and that guru. You can even mention names. Your content sounds just like Stephanie Ann Houston. We love Stephanie, but she doesn't know. But everybody that reads your content is going to buy from her and not you. Like those are the kind of things that's disruptive, right? That's disruptive. You need to do that kind of stuff, but using some of those ideas that you're going to get from them. And so I want you to go watch all of those calls, even if you want to read the transcripts. If you could take one of the transcripts, put it into ChatGPT and say, pull out the themes of what these people were struggling with, or what are the core themes from here that I could write content about. That could be another good way to give you some ideas for what happened in each one of those calls. Number two, I want you to write like what we talked about. I want you to write out the big things that they're going to get out of woke and wealthy. And I want you to talk about like the things about your framework, not giving them the details of the framework, but what your framework does. So that when you're talking and you're in the call and they just say yes, because I just can't do it. And you should say, I just found your disruptive angle this quick, 2.2 seconds. This is just a tiny piece of my disruptive marketing. I mean, my disruptive messaging framework. With the disruptive messaging framework, this is what we're going to do. Like, do you feel like that's salesy? Which is not even a
Mm,
real word.
mm-mm.
Okay. So do you see how like you're telling them, I can't go deep on a 30-minute call with you with everything we do with them, the messaging framework, but this is what we're going to do for 2 months. And if
Mhm.
you're ready to 10x where you are and get back to your $20,000 months or more, this is where you need to join. Like you need to be that strong, that bold, that confident in what you're doing. I felt a little bit of not so confident, and that's okay. But I want you to now to have the ways to make it more confident. Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's your homework. But then also, I want you to do Align Soul Alchemy on the feeling of rejection. I feel like we moved a bit, we moved a lot, but I want you to move a little bit more. Do Align Soul Alchemy on the rejection piece, and then also needing to blame people, have somebody to
Okay.
blame or not. Oh, it's three: having somebody to blame or not being wrong. Because once you realize that no one's wrong, it's either a yes or a no. And it's not personal. It's not because I'm not that good. It's not because she's better. It's just, it wasn't the time for us yet. It starts to get less personal and you can sell better and sell better easier. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Tasha. That was powerful.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for being so vulnerable because it really helped everybody. I know everybody's like shaking their head. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay. Lisa, I'm bringing you up. If you have a question, bring the question. But also, I'd love to hear why you signed up for the signal.
Hello.
Hello.
um, I was trying to think of where to even start with it, but what it really boils down to is I have been studying all of the things and embodying a lot of this material already, but the thing that really, for me personally, that was missing is I've always felt that I had to kind of extract the knowledge from places where it didn't really feel resonant. And
Mhm.
so the really for me it wasn't about, oh, I'm trying to seek knowledge, and it's like I was seeking the frequency is what
Yeah.
it boils down to. And so it's like when when you embody what you preach, I'm like, hey. Right.
Are y'all
And
listening?
and it was also just being able to hear it in a different language, and hearing what already resonates, and then really I didn't really do anything different. I just embodied it in a another layer of awareness. And on Monday, I got all of a sudden I got this booking that I wasn't expecting, and I happened to check my email, and it was like a couple of hours later, a consult, and I was like, this is random. Like I didn't
Yay.
expect, right? And so when I hopped on the console, she said, "Yeah, a couple that you've been working with a year ago, they referred me." And I was like, "Really?" I it
Yes. Of
right. And
hashtag, of course.
right. It was a really, because it was also a one of my most challenging and stretching couples that I had worked with. And so it stretched me. And so so when it was this particular couple, I was like, okay. And she said, and by the way, they have messaged you to start back working with you. And I was like, okay, something's
Your
percolating
frequency
here.
shifted. That's you
Right?
see how it came out of the blue, but you
Hmm.
didn't even have to promote or anything. They came back because they felt the shift. They felt
Yeah.
the shift. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so good. So
Yeah.
good.
And
Oh
then
my,
during this call, literally, part of the reason why I wasn't present in the beginning was I got an email right as I was logging on, or sorry, I got a text as I was logging on, and it was someone that I kind of network with, and she said, "By the way, have you started working with so and so?" And I was like, "Who are you talking about?" And she's like, "Oh, they're gonna be one of your clients." And I was like, she's like, "Send him a message." So I was like sending. So it was just literally, I hadn't done anything. I just shifted my frequency.
that is I mean this is what we are talking about. It doesn't you don't have to even do anything differently.
Hmm.
Um I think about what you just said. It was just a shift in your frequency, a shift in even the way you saw yourself. And you're like, oh, I can see where I'm not showing up here, not showing it. Okay, I'm deciding that I'm going to do it. Even if you didn't even do it, you just decided that you were going to show up differently and it shifted. And I love Tasha, listen to this example because all you have to do on your sales call is show up knowing that everybody wants to buy from me. Like just even having, I'm deciding that everybody I get on the call wants to buy from me. And if they don't, they'll buy from me eventually. Like, you know what I mean? And that's going to even shift your frequency when you go onto the call. And you'll say, everybody wants to hear about my offer. You know, that energetic shift that I'm going to share my offer because I know everybody wants to hear about it. They want to hear about how I can help them. And I'm so excited to share it because just the shift
Yeah.
in the idea of it, it's going to make a difference. I love that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lisa. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions that you want to bring up or are you just
I mean, I was
feeling good?
literally racking my brain thinking like, do I have any questions? And it kept coming back to like, it's not even about any questions. It's not even about like, what do I do? I literally started making a post based on some of the contemplations. I haven't even posted it yet. I just started making it, right? So it's literally just like things are shifting like as
Yeah.
we speak, and it's just it's powerful. And to speak to Tasha's point, the people that say no, if you think of them as a no right now, a lot of times you'll be shocked at the people that are just kind of sitting in the background waiting, and there'll be one little thing that they witness. I mean, I was that in this space.
Yay. Yes, I
So,
love that example. And Tasha, that's so true. Everybody, when you get on a call with somebody or you're doing the DMs conversation and all that, remember that you're high on their radar. And so even your content that you post after that and the things, they're gonna be like, oh, that's exactly what I needed to hear in the call, but I'm hearing it now.
mhm.
So just trust that it's a no for now. It could be a yes in an instant. It could be a yes because you posted right after that call and they're gonna be like, you know what? Yes, let me do it. And so thank you, Lisa, for pointing that out. It's really for now. And it's not a rejection, it's just a not right now. You you could shift timeline, you could just be like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna say one thing, this is gonna like I feel like this is something I should share online. And then it'd be the exact thing that they would have said yes to, if they heard it on the call, but now they've heard it and they're ready. And so you've got 9 people plus times 10 who are all looking at your content and so excited to see what else you're sharing. They wouldn't have spent that time on a call with you for that. So I love that. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for sharing. Yay. All right, Kitia, do you have a question? We've got about, okay, no questions. Yay. Well, thank you, ladies. This has been such an amazing call. I love all of your heart. I know a lot of you have already joined the signal, and so we're going to give some dates and times of when we're going to start, and I'm going to open up our group and all the things very soon. And so if you, I'm going to get you guys the replay. Really like watch some of these things over and over again. Play with those personas. I mean, those personas, play with the archetypes. Don't be the persona. Play with the archetypes and really see, where am I showing up here? Where am I not being fully myself? And for what I feel like a big piece of this visibility, being seen, receiving, and being sought after, is unapologetically selling yourself. And Tasha really brought that out today. Where are you not unapologetically selling? Where are you not really standing for, you know how to help these people and you have unique insights that they do not have, and that you're going to share it in a way that so they know that, wow, you can take me places that I haven't gone before. I want you to feel into that so that you can say, not only am I going to be visible, right, received and sought after, I also am going to unapologetically sell. I'm also going to sell over and over and over and over again. I'm also going to sell in a way that is speaking directly to what these people really want and what they desire. Because me doing that is exactly what is needed in order for me to make the difference and the impact that I want to make. And so really feel into that. Thank you. Thank you for being here. This has been an honor. It's been such a joy. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next experience and definitely in the signal. Bye.